a fire extinguisher. When you have small fire at your house, use throwers to extinguish it.
Hello and welcome to the Outside View presented by Throwers. So it was a special moment for all of us as women's cricket made its debut at the Commonwealth Games and we got our gold, silver and bronze medalists yesterday. So let's discuss that further on. I have alongside me Mohit, Shah and Yash Lahoti. So starting with the champions, the tournament changed, the challenges changed, but the winner in women's cricket, they don't change. It's Australia. Coming to you, Mohit, first. Tell me, is this a very important leaf that all the teams around the world should take from Australia's book, How to Win Matches from Crunch Situations?
Yes, absolutely. But I don't think this is something that every team can do. It is only something that the very best can do because a lot of times, at least in three of their five matches, they were in situations where it looked like they would go on to lose the match, but they eventually ended up winning all those matches quite comfortably. Like by the 18th over itself, you knew that they are going to win, which in T20 eyes is not that close. So just like the number of match winners that they have and the way their younger players also seem undaunted and unfazed even at the biggest stage is something that is very hard to reproduce. And it is like the reward of a very strong domestic structure, a lot of investment over the years, a lot of hard work. So something like this doesn't happen overnight. It's the product of what they've put into their cricket for the last 5 or 10 years. They've always been the most dominant team in women's cricket. But after that 2017 World Cup, they've just hit a different level and nobody else is close to them. Like the ODI World Cup final was close. Yesterday's match was close. But Australia were the dominant team in both the tournaments, didn't lose a single match. And England and India are very good teams. They have a lot of class players. There's quality all over those teams, but ultimately, they didn't even get all that close to Australia, either in the league stage or in the final. So I think this Australian team is definitely the greatest of all time. I don't think there's any question whatsoever about that anymore.
A lot of solid points from Mohit there. The talks of IPL here as well. To some point, we saw that India was well within the control of the chase, but the game just slipped away from them. But playing in the leagues like that of IPL, WBBL, it helps the players to deal with these situations better because they are in that situation, they know how to deal with it. A big call for women's IPL, and that's going to make a huge difference here, Yash.
I disagree to this point. I just feel that every time India doesn't do well, we excuse it for the women's IPL. No. Maybe the last time it was, maybe the last to last time it was, but this time there's no reason that we lost because we don't have a women's IPL. I don't agree to that scheme of things. I just feel that वो एक बहाना है. अगर हम उसके ऊपर ही चलते रहे तो हो गया फिर मतलब then it's nothing. Like you see the men's team 2007 they won where the IPL hadn't started, and after that there have been 14 seasons of the IPL and they haven't won a single T20 trophy. So it's not the IPL is not the reason. I completely disagree. Okay, IPL is going to help a lot of domestic structures getting created, a lot of players getting opportunity financially. They are going to be a lot better. They are going to play 12 months a year. All those things. Yes, I agree to that scheme of things. But did we lose because we did not know how to play under a pressure situation? I disagree to that point. I just feel that we played bad cricket in the last 5 overs, and that is the reason we lost. We were the top side for the first 35 overs. The last 5 overs, we were not so great. Great would be like an understatement. We were very bad. Like we were worst at that particular point in time. Like after Jemima Rodriguez got out, Harmanpreet Kaur got out. These are the only two players who scored, I think so, more than 10 yesterday. Like double digits, only two players, and then there's no one who's playing. I think so. That is more the problem. See, you have not used your resources properly. Yes, Pooja Vastragar came in at number 5, but was it needed for any of them to just start hitting? Because it was not like 44 of 34 balls. I think so very much gettable. Like you don't
Right.
even you didn't even have to bat at 9 run rate per over. It was 8.5, 8.7, and I think so that's very much easily gettable with two set batters. Very much possible. Yes, the two set batters got out. I think so. They are to be blamed, of course, because they were set. They should, at least one of them should have tried to finish it. Had one of Jemima Rodriguez or Harmanpreet Kaur been there till the end, the situation would have been a lot different. But see, we played in front of a crowd in 2017. We played in front of a crowd in 2018 West Indies World Cup. We played in front of crowd 2020 World Cup. There's no reason now that we're blaming that, okay, the pressure got to us. No, the pressure did not get to you. It was not like that. See, if you think that the pressure was to you, you should have planned it a lot better. I think so. And I feel the planning was there. It was just that yesterday the execution did not work. The same execution worked for all the other matches. It didn't work yesterday.
Certainly. But the plans and execution were just in place for the Australian bowlers because they made a splendid comeback with the ball, even when the partnership was building between Harmanpreet Kaur and Jemima Rodriguez. The bowlers did a great job there. And though the batting unit struggled at the lower middle order, but there it was Beth Mooney once again coming in with that crucial knock of 61 runs for Australia. The number 3 position, we always keep talking about it, but Beth Mooney's contribution at the top order has been a defining point for Australia. What is that special thing about her, Mohit?
I think just the ability to score quickly without like taking any undue risks or playing a lot of high risk cricket is what sets Beth Mooney apart. Like if you anytime look at her innings, her strike rate will always be very good. Even yesterday, she scored at a strike rate of almost 150, and you don't even realize that if you don't look at the actual strike rate number because you feel like this is a player who's only hitting fours, taking the singles and twos, not hitting sixes or hitting those big shots. But it's just the ability to like score off almost every single ball and keep the dot balls to a minimum. And the other thing is like in the ODI, she bats in the middle order. So she has a lot of experience batting everywhere in the top five. So she's equally good against pace and spin, which not a lot of openers are. Like a lot of them either prefer pace or spin based on which country they belong to. And the other thing is also the fact that her running between the wickets is very good. She also gets the best out of her partners. Like both her and Meg Lanning are batters who like keep talking to the other batter and like keep telling them what needs to be done, what the match situation is. So that is why she has had very good partnerships with Meg Lanning, with Ash Gardner, even with Talia Magra. And any batter, I think, would enjoy batting with somebody like Beth Mooney because there's no pressure on you. Because from the other end, the runs are always coming. And there's always a very good balance. Like around 50% of her runs would come in boundaries, the others would come in singles and twos. And yesterday, in fact, like India got away lightly because she played a slightly uncharacteristic shot to get out because she'd already hit in a big shot in that over. But the reason she did that was because at that point it was looking like Australia might end up with a slightly under par score. So she had to take that risk. But otherwise, like she another tournament where she's again the leading run getter, and that is okay. You can be the leading run getter, but more importantly, she does it at a very good strike rate, and while always playing selflessly and putting the team first. Because we've seen a lot of players in the past who always end up being the top run getters, but if you look at where their teams finish, it won't be in the top 2 or 3. They'll either finish fourth or not make the knockouts. So I think Beth Mooney not only scores runs but always makes very high impact runs for Australia. And any team in the world would be like happy to have somebody like Beth Mooney in their team.
Definitely. And a calculated innings from her yesterday helped Australia to put that target of 162 runs for India. But let's touch upon fielding as well. Both the teams were quite impressive when it came to fielding yesterday. Some amazing runouts there, some splendid catches from the Australian side as well. Tells you how important saving runs and getting those runouts in a crunch situation is. How impressive were the teams when it came to fielding, Yash?
Both were extremely good. Like there was no. I feel that is what Australia has always been good with their fielding, but India has grown a lot. Like you see Radha Yadav's that run out, I think so. Meg Lanning, superb. Like I
So
have never seen
the
that.
point that Mohit put forward in the preview as well. That probably fielding is the one thing that Australia has an edge, but India also came quite stronger in the yesterday's match.
Yeah, you couldn't blame. See, Radha Yadav's that run out, then she took a catch. Then Deepti Sharma said, "Oh, okay, hold. That's not still the catch of the day. I am taking another better catch." And it was a competition, and see, this is healthy competition. That's what you should admire, appreciate this young Indian team. I was speaking with a player in the morning, and she was like, Yash, we gave our level best. There is nothing more that we could have done. And this young team has probably tried to beat the unbeatable. Like that
Yeah.
Australian team has everything that you could potentially ask for. And then to see, there was a time like Harman was some 60 odd, and she was smacking fours, and there was a I still remember this very clearly, that the broadcaster took the camera to McLanning's face, and her face was, अब मैं क्या करूं. It was that kind of a situation कि ये ऐसे खेल रहा है कि मैं क्या करूं. I know see it end of the day it happened that Australia won the gold, but India's silver is no less. I can say that very clearly. Their fielding was top notch, their batting was top notch, bowling was top notch. Yes, they couldn't capitalize on the key moments, which happens. It's okay. Like, it's very much understandable that yes, in a major tournament like this kind of hiccups can happen.
There is no doubt 100 marks there for the effort that India put forward yesterday. A silver is also equally special. Meg Lannon, the captain, she had the gold. She has the T20I World Cup win. She has that ODI World Cup win. But Harmanpreet Kaur, it was her first assignment, the first big assignment as India's full-time skipper. How special this victory is going to be for Harmanpreet Kaur and the entire Indian cricket team, Mohit, because coming in the coming days, we're going to have some important tournaments. The entire vibe of the team that we saw, the fight that they put forward, how positive and special this is for India.
It's very special. Like if we just cut back to that image that was just put on screen, like you can look at Harmanpreet Kaur's face there. She seems extremely happy and content. So I think this picture itself conveys how big of an, and not just her, all the 15 women, if you look at them, all of them are extremely happy and content in this picture. Obviously, there is that disappointment in them that they couldn't close out what was a match that they dominated for a large point of time. But I think if you would have asked most people whether you would have taken a silver before the tournament began, the answer would have been yes. And India have now been a consistently good team under Harmanpreet Kaur. She's been the T20I captain for 6 years, taken India to 2 finals, 1 semi-final in major tournaments. And her overall record is also like among the best of all time. So I think she would be very, very happy. But knowing the kind of person and character that she is, she would obviously also want the team to take the learnings from this loss and go one better next time around, because a few of them, almost all of them, might again be a part of the squad when India goes to South Africa next year. And there's a little over 6 months now for that tournament. So knowing Harmanpreet Kaur, the preparations would now already shift to that event, and India would derive a lot of confidence from the way they ran Australia close twice in the span of a week. And I'm sure like India will be among the major contenders again once the T20 World Cup is in town.
I'll add something to Harman's point. See, Harman, out of the 15 people that were there, I feel Harman was the most disappointed of the lot, because she really wanted to finish this on a high. And one more thing, what I have come to know is that Harman is not playing the 100 just because she wants to concentrate a lot more for the national side, build the team for the World Cup. Because if she misses the 100, she can give that 1 month for team preparation, for her own preparation, and so that the team can be ready for England, Australia, South Africa, and then the World Cup. So I think so that is what you want from the captain. See, if a captain is sacrificing, see, we all know Jhulan Goswami sacrificed the Melbourne Stars contract a few years back just to be with the Bengal team. If your national captain is sacrificing a franchise contract just to build her team for the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever, I think so there's no bigger thing that you can have at a moment when there are other nations who are potentially saying that, oh, okay, we'll retire and we'll play domestic leagues. Here you have someone who's saying that no to domestic league and saying that yes, I want to build my team for the future.
Certainly. That passion, that fire Harmanpreet Kaur brings to the 22 yards, that's something that we enjoy most about her. And as Mohit said, that she would want to get that one step ahead now. Even Jemmy put a very heartwarming and heart-touching post today that silver is equally special and we would look to turn that into gold. So we are all proud of the girls, Australia with the gold there, India with the silver. But let's also move on to the bronze medal match. It was England and New Zealand. Let's talk about New Zealand first. Coming to you, Mohit, did you count on New Zealand to finish third before the start
Not
of the tournament?
Not at all. Like a lot of credit to them for like going in with such a young squad and still finishing among the medals. Like I remember I said I don't even think they would make the semis, and reaching the semis itself is a big achievement for them. But they not just did that, they ran Australia very close in the semi-final, a team that they've struggled a lot against in the past. They had their chances to win that match. Had they taken their catches, they in fact would have won that match. And the way they defeated England yesterday was as comprehensive as it gets. And this is almost a full strength England squad. Like Heather Knight was missing, and that is a big omission, but she hasn't played for quite a few T20I matches now, and England looked very dominant even in those matches. So, not just the fact that they won bronze, but the way in which they won and the way they played right through the tournament was very impressive. And this is still a very young team. Like, other than Sophie Devine and Susie Bates and maybe Leah Tahu, everyone else is still almost either below 25 or 30, and a lot of youngsters are there. So like the potential that this team has is immense, and like they hadn't even played any international cricket in almost 6 months, and to like come from the cold and put in such a good performance, and especially after losing the group stage match quite comprehensive to England, is really good. And I think a lot of credit has to go to their captain and their coaches as well, because when you have so many young players in the team, how the captain deals with them, the amount of uh, the support that you get from the coaching staff. So I think Ben Sawyer and Sarah McGlashan have done a really good job with this team. And Sophie Devine has always been a very good captain. Like her on-field decision making generally is pretty spot on. So I think this will also also give that additional boost to Sophie Devine and Susie Bates to carry on till the T20 World Cup, because both of them are old, have had lots of injuries in the last few years. So something like this will push them. Whereas now we don't know whether someone like Catherine Brunt will be able to carry on, because you saw how much she's given to this team and in this tournament as well. And she was in tears at the end. And it
Yeah.
was sad to see, but that is the reality of sport, that at the end of the day, you will always have a winner and somebody who finishes second best.
They rightly say that cricket is a funny game. Unexpected things do keep happening in this game, and especially when it comes to the T20I format, it's so unpredictable. So kudos to New Zealand for putting up that display, because they didn't play international cricket, as you rightly mentioned, Mohit, since the ODI World Cup. So it was a special performance coming in from them. But touching upon England's campaign there, do you think, Yash, that they missed the services of Heather Knight? And do you think Nat Silver was in a bit of a pressure and that hurt England at some point?
I think so. We were discussing this today morning that uh, they really missed the services of Heather Knight. Like Heather Knight, the captain, was missed. Natalie Silver, she's a great all rounder, but didn't think like this was her team. Like it didn't look like that. She was under pressure. She see before the tournament started, when she was not the captain, you saw how she was performing, and come the tournament start, her batting looked very different. Like we've not seen this Natalie Silver at least in the last 2 years. See, there are people who are great captains, and then there are people who are great batters, bowlers, all rounders. As players, they are good, but maybe they cannot handle the pressure of captaincy with the pressure that comes as a player. What you have to give on the field. It's very much possible, and it looked like Natalie Silver is not the one that England should be having as their skipper. Is what I feel. See, I can be 100% wrong, but end of the day, you need to find someone who is a good skipper than a player, because a skipper, end of the day, is someone who keeps the team together, who says that this is how the plans are going to work, but at the same time is not going to affect uh, their own personal performances, because their personal performances are equally important. Natalie Siva's personal performances were largely hampered during the tournament, is what I saw. I just felt that she was not able to give what she regularly gives. Like if you see the test match or you see the one days if somebody is batting at 130, 140 strike rate, come the T20Is, that to Commonwealth, the pitches were good. She was not able to score above 100. I felt that was the major reason. So I just felt that if not for Heather Knight, who takes the lead for England now?
Surely, and we can say this because we saw what a great comeback England made in the ODI World Cup after losing those initial matches, but then they made it to the finals. Surely, a skipper has a lot to do with the team environment, with the way the team is carried forward. But that's it. We saw that Australia won the gold, India with the silver, and New Zealand with the bronze. This was the story of the Commonwealth Games. But let's get to our experts to know who impressed them the most. I'll come to you, Mohit, first. Who for you is that player who impressed you the most in this entire tournament, or a player that you saw most progress in?
I think the player that I saw the most progress in would be Renuka Singh Thakur, because this is a player who didn't find a place in the Indian team at the start of the year, and then she bowled really well against Sri Lanka. But obviously, like you yourself said earlier, there was that asterisk that those performances came against Sri Lanka, a team that didn't even qualify for the World Cup. So here she did it against the best teams in the world, twice against Australia, once against a very good Barbados top order, which is almost identical to West Indies' top order in the T20I format, at least the top three. So I think Renuka Singh Thakur is the player who impressed the most. And like on a watch along, like Mona Mishram was also saying yesterday, this is a bowler who's like always looking to improve her game. Earlier, she was mainly known for her new ball bowling, but now she's become very good at bowling in the middle overs as well. There's that off cutter that she's developed. There's good slower ones, and she's primarily known for her in swing, but now she also gets the ball to hold its line from time to time. Sometimes she also gets it to move away. We saw it in the way she dismissed Elisa Healy in the first match, where she got her caught at slip. So I think the player who has improved the most would be Renuka Singh Thakur, and I think the player that impressed me the most would be Talia Magra, because ever since she's come back into the Australian team in the last 1 year, she's been the standout T20I player in the world. She has changed games with bat, with ball, and in the field. Kept Ellis Perry out of the team, which itself is no easy thing to do. Batted at that key number 4 position yesterday. Also, it must have been a very difficult day for her. Like, you have claims to being the player of the tournament, and then on the morning you test positive for COVID. A lot of credit to her, the Australian team, and the Indian team for like letting her take part in the match. And it's not easy. She was sitting alone there in the stand throughout their batting duration. She took that great catch to dismiss Shafali, and then she had to say, "Yeah, guys, just back off. It's a great catch, but we can't celebrate." So, yeah, yesterday also she did make that difference in the field by taking that important catch. And obviously, when you are suffering physically, you can't be at your best. But Talia Magra for me was probably the player of the tournament as well, along with Renuka Singh Thakur.
Renuka Singh Thakur and Talia Magra for Mohit, and I guess Renuka Singh Thakur was your answer as well, Yash. You got
I
to
just
change it now.
No, I cannot change it. There is no one else that I really thought that was the player of the tournament. See, no one from New Zealand, no one from England, no one from South Africa, the other teams. It was only Australia versus India primarily, because these are the two sides which did well, stood at the right time, and there was whatever that 9 runs gap between the two. Otherwise, things would have been different. So I feel Renuka Singh Thakur was the player of the tournament. There's no doubt I have about that. I don't even think Talia Magra did well to the level of becoming the player of the tournament ahead of Renuka Singh Thakur. I just felt that Renuka was much better. I think so. She had some 11 wickets in the tournament, and out of which 6 against Australia. So you can't just. I think that is where the major point came. Magra in the 2 important games against India. She had what a scores. I don't remember a score from the first match yesterday or two. I know she was suffering from COVID, but see, end of the day, if you are getting a chance to participate, you are going to be treated as an equal player as the other 10. So otherwise, you don't play. Somebody else plays for you. So it is that kind of a situation. So I feel that Renuka Singh Thakur was way ahead. For me, being whatever player of tournament, youngster of the tournament, somebody who's improved leaps and bounds. As Mohit rightly told, a lot of people told that, oh, okay, she's maybe performing only against Sri Lanka, but we saw what she did against Australia, what she did against Barbados. So that's what you needed, and that's what Renuka did.
And that's such a positive for India as well, isn't it, Mohit? Because once Jhulan Goswami has retired, we were thinking about what next for India's pace bowling unit, and now it seems that it's in right hands, isn't it?
Yeah, and Jhulan Goswami still hasn't retired. She's like found a place in Bengal's probables for this year. So I wouldn't ever rule somebody like Jhulan Goswami out, especially in the ODI format, because like we saw in this tournament as well, Renuka Singh Thakur was the standout in the pace bowling department, but there are still question marks elsewhere in India's pace bowling department because Pooja Vastrakar obviously makes it as the pace bowling all-rounder, but the identity of the third pace bowler is still a big question mark, I feel, for India because Meghna Singh is still a work in progress. She's not anywhere close to being the finished article yet. There's a lot of work which needs to be done on her fitness and on her skills when it comes to bowling with the older ball. She's a good prospect for tests and ODIs, I feel, but T20Is, India do need to look for other options. But Renuka Singh Thakur has definitely shown that she can be the next leader of the Indian pace bowling attack. And maybe if she gets to bowl with Jhulan Goswami for a year or two, you never know. She might get to learn a lot more. That is something that is a call for the Indian selectors to make because be it Jhulan Goswami, be it Shikha Pandey, whoever it is, I think there is still that role that a senior pacer can take up in the Indian ODI and T20I bowling units. And somebody like Renuka will also benefit a lot because uh, all the coaches in the Indian team currently are either batters or spinners. Like there isn't a pace bowling coach that the women's team has. So maybe Jhulan Goswami can take up that role as well. You never know, like a player coach role. And Renuka Singh Thakur has already shown us enough, but we should not put undue pressure on her as well because she's still in the first year of her international career. So if she continues the trajectory that she's been on so far, I think India will be in good hands for the next half a decade or so at
So
least.
yesterday, somebody on our show told me that it is wrong on saying that have we find the replacement to Jhulan Goswami and a lot of other things because it's too early to predict anything. See, Renuka has played effectively 2 or 3 series. Just because your 6 months are good, your 12 months are good. Somebody who's played 20 years, you cannot really compare them with them. It gets very difficult. It puts undue pressure on Renuka. You're basically challenging the legacy of Jhulan Goswami and a lot of other things. So I feel that it's too early to say that, oh, okay, have we found a effective replacement of Jhulan or something like that. Let Renuka do the same what Jhulan has been doing for 20 at least for 2 years, and then we see that, oh, okay, have we really found a replacement? Because India has this habit that, oh, okay, somebody does well for 6 months and then somebody doesn't do well for the next 3 months and they drop and get someone completely different. So it's too early to say that is it Renuka or is it someone else. Let Renuka do this well for another 2-3 years, and then we will potentially have something up.
Fair enough. The legacy that Jhulan Goswami has, it's irreplaceable. Only we can see that players coming in and following it, and that would be a big positive for India itself. So this entire Commonwealth Games was a special thing because women's cricket made its debut, and we all cherish the moment here. The women's cricket making its appearance at a multi-sporting event. Australia won the gold, India bagged the silver, and New Zealand came in from nowhere and won that bronze medal. A special performance from them. So this entire tournament was an exciting one, and a lot of exciting tournaments are in store for us as well. So make sure that you stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.
Throwers is a good fire extinguisher. When you have small fire at your house, use throwers to extinguish it.